Dave Ramsey. Is this the guy that does the stock tips? I would
I think so.
avoid him maybe. But he had some really interesting thoughts about manhood and masculinity. And this video is worth watching. We'll talk about it on the other side.
Men have been devalued and trivialized and been the villain or the clown of everything for good 20 years. You don't see a TV commercial where the dad is the hero, he's an idiot, or a sitcom where the dad is the hero, he's an idiot. The 12-year-old is the smart one, and they smart off through the whole script. And they're the brilliant one, you know. And but the dad's a doofus, and the mother rolls her eyes at the doofus that she picked as a life partner. And if you do that to any segment of the economy long enough, eventually they begin to believe it. And so we have 7.2 million men that are able-bodied, able-minded, that are not engaged in the workplace right now. They're doing nothing. They're sitting. Because the entire culture has said, you're a doofus, you're a buffoon, you're valueless, manhood, masculinity is toxic by its very nature, and so you're of no value. And the problem is it's destroying not only economics, but social fabric as well. Because we do know the data on kids, particularly daughters, the cues they take from their dad are devastatingly impactful, good or bad. And so an engaged dad who builds confidence and gives their daughter hugs growing up until she leaves home, and even after she leaves home, builds a confident daughter, a daughter that is not sexually promiscuous, a daughter that finishes college, a daughter that will not be victimized in the marketplace. That comes from their dads. The data shows that. And so when the dad is not engaged, it's horrible for the social fabric. And it messes with sons too, but it's a different thing. The father wound on us sons is different, but and it's very real. But but economically speaking, what we're doing is we've got 7.2 million of these guys doing nothing, zero.
What do you think?
Daddy issues is always something to look out for one reason or another. Trying to keep my baby off the pole. Or in this case, the OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it rings so true. It was that whole video is like a mic drop. It affects, I mean, there's a whole ecosystem of videos on YouTube about dating is broken. Okay. I feel sorry for anyone dealing with the current dating world. I feel sorry for everyone except for Dante. That's the only person I don't feel sorry for. He's no issues there. But I'm just saying, like, what he has to say is like, so it rings true and echoes into other problems in society, economically speaking.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, there came a point in parenting, I think, where for some weird reason, women took over the job of the man, right? There was a time when fathers would raise sons, and those sons would raise sons, and those sons would raise sons. You know, you were taught to be a certain way as a man, but then, all of a sudden, circa, I don't know, I'm gonna say late 90s, early 2000s, there was a shift, man, and women kind of became more predominant, when it comes to parenting and all this other stuff. And the baby worship began, where every, child is a precious little angel that, can't get a scuffed knee. Right. And to guys' credit, man, I'm not going to sit here and just shit on the men. We live in a weird time right now, man, for dating, right? Women have bizarre expectations, man. Like you got a Michigan 4, right? Thinking she's a fucking LA 10, who has these weird expectations for what she thinks her man should be, 6'5", look like Henry Cavill, rich, smart, all the above. And most normal guys just don't have a shot at that. Now, on top of that, when a man tries to approach a woman, he has to worry about getting filmed and being put on social media. So there's a lot of weird things that are kind of going into, the dynamic of, men and women, but just men in general. Men, and I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, woe is men, but, you know, it's become real trendy to shit on men, you know, over the past like 20 years. So you have a whole generation who, for lack of a better word, are pussies. I mean, because they kind of are, you know, I mean, but it's kind of like society created this.
That's a George Carlin bit from the 90s, the pussification of the American
Right.
male.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Well,
what
It's
it
only
is.
gotten worse by design.
It's a very intentional societal push. I mean, we're at a point now where I think it's like women are over 50 to between 50 and 60% of all of the white collar workforce. That was kind of when they were talking about my Mr. Mom, you know, review earlier. That was kind of the thing, is even viewing that movie, which was made in '83, and looking at where things are now. We live in a completely different world on a different planet, and it's been a very, very intentional societal push to kind of put men on the back burner, even in schools and stuff. I mean, if you look at our schools and how they are designed and catered, it is towards women, period. And that has been how society has been structured, and it is headed that way at full speed. And now we're at a point where, you know, even like Dante was saying, over the past, like, at least even 10 or more years, where men are just the enemy, right? Like, it's not even just that, you know, we're kind of sidelining them. They've been public enemy number one in a lot of ways. So this is the byproduct of pushing people down intentionally. And it sucks, but he's definitely, he's not wrong about this, and it shows. And so now the question is, like, how do we get out of this hole?
I mean, I do think what's kind of encouraging is I have seen a more recent trend of women who are asking for traditional men, you know, real men to step up, that kind of thing, and, you know, kind of managing their expectations as well. I've been seeing a lot more female influencers who are pro men, which, you know, I don't know if it's a grift or not, but at least they're saying something about it. So I think there is sort of a shift. I mean, you're even seeing liberal women, leftist women, talk about how they don't want to date leftist men because they're wimps. So there is a slight change happening. I think the damage has been pretty done, though. Like, I mean, it might be a generation or two before we get like a society of strong men again.
Bring back male heroes. All of our heroes were killed off or made cucky or turned into Skywalker. So you got to start bringing back strong masculine characters, Reacher, shit like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me ask you this question. What was the last movie you saw with a strong father figure?
Right. And especially TV show.
Night
TV
of Seven
shows are
Kingdoms?
100 times worse.
Shao Kahn got
Avatar,
Avatar.
Yeah,
Avatar, which is weird.
Yep.
That's a strong male, strong father figure. But it is very sad. And I didn't think about that. We talk about this as it relates to movies, television occasionally, but you're seeing societal effects from the same message being shoved down people's throats, and it's having a corrosive effect on society.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that's the end goal of feminism. They don't want equality. They want to be better than you. They want to surpass men. And so in order to do that, let's drag them down. That's why we don't have like good father figures like we did back in the 90s. Like 90s sitcoms had really good father figures. You know, the fathers were the head of the household. The fathers were, you know, they would go and they would talk to their daughters as much as the wives did. But like, you know, they had you can know those iconic father figures from those 90s sitcoms.
Even
You
Al
know, especially,
Bundy.
like Al yes, Al
Yeah,
Like
he
even
was
when
an
he was a quote unquote loser because he worked as a female shoe store and owned his house and still hadn't paid off his Dodge. At the end of the day, he was still the patriarch of the family that, you know, would beat the shit out of the negative character or anyone messing with his, let me show you the door, and then like slam him into the it was still something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had something. You had like Uncle Phil, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. You had
Bill
the
Cosby,
dad from
what a paragon.
Yeah.
the dad
Family
from
Matters.
Yes.
Family Matters, the
Yeah.
guy from Full House. You know, you had all of those great father figures. Now you don't. And he was right. He was 100% correct when he talked about how like now in commercials you don't really have a father figure, or the dad is like, you know, the household, like he's taking home, or he's taking care of like the chores and the laundry, and the mom's going to work. Like the roles are reversed. He was right. Like if he is in a show, like the dad's kind of a doofus, the dad's not, you know, the mom is the serious one, or, you know, the kids are smarter than the parents. Like you see that all of the time. And that is meant to drag down men, drag down the stronger in society, drag down the people that they are intimidated by. And what you get is a very feminist society that is based solely around, you know, how you feel, and that's not how you run anything. That's not how things get done. You need those strong patriarchal figures, those level-headed figures in society in order to keep it going. And feminists don't like that. They don't think that way. And they want to drag them down, and they want to be better than men. They don't want to be equal to men. That's a lie. They want to be better, and you have to drag them down. And it does have an effect on society. And when he says like men aren't really taking part in the workforce or in anything like that, well, I mean, yeah, you get shit on for 20 plus years. What is going to happen? There's going to be societal effects.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and that also goes with trying to blur the gender lines, right? It's like if there's only one gender, then everybody's on equal footing, right? There's no differences between men and women if the genders can just change at will, right?
Yeah, it was
so that was another way of destroying the man
on the nuclear family.
Yeah,